Hello YouTube wise, FIFA here, coming at you today on Thursday morning with the third episode of my FUT17 Market Watch. We'll be exploring the FIFA 17 Ultimate Team market, trying to give you guys some trade tips and tricks to make sure that you guys make your FUT fortune. Tried to get this up last night, was feeling a little under the weather though, was not going to be the best video. So, got it up first thing I could this morning, so hopefully you guys will enjoy it. But in the future, make sure you're looking out for this series on Wednesdays. And try to do it right when the team of the week gets dropped, just so that you guys have the most knowledge and most information and advice from me going through the whole week. So, as we usually do, I'm going to start off talking about the previous team of the week. So last team of the week here, Team League 24, has some sweet players, great midfielders, solid attackers. These players are all going to be great to trade with. You got some really interesting players down in here with the informed Chester and Berisha. You love to see these other nationalities getting some love, but this Kita card looks ridiculous and whatnot, and that is where I'm actually going to start. This third informed Kita, I think that his price is going to rise in the future. His price has dipped a little bit, like 2 or 3K lower than what it was selling for on Tuesday, right before the next team week got announced, but give him some time. This guy is only 2 points away in defense from joining the Let gang or whatever you guys, however you guys want to say that, but all 80s, that's ridiculous for an 86 inform that plays in the Bundesliga, so it's not hard to link him up with quality players. So look out to pick up a few Kita if you have the budget, because I definitely think he's a solid investment. So then another player that I think is going to be a really solid investment is this Sylvester. If you guys can pick up some Sylvesters for less than 10K, his price will definitely rise. There's not a lot of them on the market. His price is already rising. I tried to trade a few of them during the week. But he also links up with that 5-star skiller Edison Flores, the bronze player. And imagine if Flores got another inform. That would be ridiculous. That would be awesome, although I would like to keep him as a bronze. So then for squad builder challenges in the next week, there are a couple different options here. Semedo and Rulli. Semedo isn't necessarily too highly priced right now for an 84, but he's still in the above 20 region, so you're going to want to be careful with that. But Rulli down here, he is right below 20K, I believe, and that is especially helpful to pick up an 85 inform just in case EA release more guaranteed team of the weeks and whatnot, especially after they changed the squad builder challenge formula. 85 would help drastically, because then you don't have to go spend 4 or 5K or whatnot on those other 84 rated players. So that's my little tip there. But also I want to say that the Serge Gnabry, it's a card that's kind of like the Bundesliga's version of Andre Gray. So I love Werder Bremen, they're my favorite team. I think Gnabry will get another inform. However, this player's price for now, it's stable around 20K. If you're looking possibly for an investment and you have some coins laying around and you want to give this guy a shout out, pick up a couple of them and see. I think it's going to lead well, but just make sure you keep an eye on him, because he is a huge candidate for getting another inform every now and then. Caldara might be a good shout, but another player that's going to get a team of the season coming up pretty soon, and it's going to be a beast mode player. So now we're going to move over to the team of the week 25. This team of the week is ridiculous. There are players on the I'm stuttering. I'm speechless about how ridiculous that this team of the week is for a lot of position players and just marquee players. Look at this Arnautovic, this Perisic is ridiculous. Benzema and Griezmann. I love Thauvin over here. The defense is ridiculous. Koulibaly, that means his team of the season is going to be ridiculous. And then the bench, look at that. Moreno is a great player for Mexico on the side. Johnson is ridiculous. Firmino is ridiculous there. And then I love the 2 Italian additions here with Belotti and Immobile. I'm not sure Immobile deserved it, but Belotti definitely did. And Belotti is going to be one for the future. But I'll stop rambling about how much I like this team of the week. So the best players that I think to trade during the week are actually down here in this region. I'm not a big fan of trading gold informs during the week, just because their prices fluctuate so much, considering that a lot of packs are open, so the supply of those players goes up on the market, which means the price of their cards goes down. So the 2 players that I see most likely being good trades to do during the week is this Alessandra from Heartpool. Bronze players are not going to get a lot of love, but that means that their price might be a little bit lower to begin with. However, once he's out of his packs, he's going to be rarer and rarer, and his price is going to go up. Then the next one is Kalachev. He's the only right back in Belarus, which makes him like a crucial card if anybody ever wanted to build a Belarus team, which I might actually look into doing eventually later in FUT. But he has just really solid stats, and that's another card I think that you'll be able to pick up because he's a right back with 55 defending. This is another card you'll be able to pick up for like less than 8K, hopefully, I think. And that's just a solid investment because once again, once he's out of packs, his price is going to go back up to around that 10K. You see that with you see that with all the players that I've said to invest in during the week, the silver inform, such as Minamino a couple weeks ago, Sylvester last week, and Kalichev, I think, will follow it. Same with this Gooden, possibly. He's got some really solid stats, and people do enjoy playing with English players, especially English informs. And so this is another decent shout. If you can pick up any of these silver players, I guess, really, any of these informs for less than like 7K, then you're in a good position to be making money later in the week. For the real team of the week, I think Belotti for squad builder challenges, if his 85 is going to be cheap, considering that so many packs are going to be open to try to get a lot of these good players such as Aubameyang and whatnot, he could definitely be a good shout for a cheap 85 inform, just like we were talking about in the last one with Rulli. So then I also believe Moreno is going to be a great card. Another 83 that, one, he's going to be a good card, and two, the Mexican players love to play with Mexican teams in Ultimate Team, and just in general, Mexico is a fun nation to play with. So he is definitely an asset to those teams, so he will have some demand, but also that 83 could be useful for squad builder challenges. Johnson is another player that maybe during the 4th of July area or something like that, the EA will do something with the United States. So be on the lookout for needing Johnson just to have a really solid MLS or United States team. He'd be an integral part of that team. I also like the looks of Dusan Tadic, an 84 that can be used for the Squad Builder Challenge, but also an 84 that might get overlooked in the first glances when people are opening a ton of packs to get the other players. He is in the BPL, he does have 4-star skills, and he did just change from a winger to a center attacking mid, which means he's much more playable now, and definitely a player that I can see happening. Also, so now I'm going to move on to the just looking over the market aspect of this, but I wanted to do, last week I mentioned doing an experiment about looking at the players' prices for the team of the weeks, and the thing is, I'll show you guys in a sec after I talk about the indexes, but there is a slight little trend that I think we might be able to pick up on. So we are now on FUTbin, and we're going to look at the Index 100. This is just the general market of FIFA right now, and I know we're in a seller's market pretty much right now. I know that there's a little bit of dip there, which might be helpful because hopefully in the future we'll get out of this, but there is not much price difference between what you'd be able to pick up for open bids and what you'd be able to sell for buy nows, which is kind of tough for traders that like to trade high volume. That's what I like to do a lot. Get a lot of cards in, make like 1 to 3K off each trade, and then just do that a bunch. That's what I like to do most. But this could still be good for investments. It just means you have to work a little bit harder to find them. So now we're going to look at the special market. You see here it's dropping a little bit, but as I said, it's still just when you're actually searching for players, I don't feel like it is actually a good enough indication to buy a lot of these players in open bids, just because the profit margin is a little bit tough to justify the risk you would be taking. Of course, we're going to move over here to the ones to watch. Sorry, this graph isn't in this, but one to watch, love to say it. There's no big change in the market, but I do have a few coming up in a little bit of one to watch players that I definitely think will feature and have good shouts on getting their upgrade informs, which means profit will skyrocket. So lastly, the legends here. The legends are taking a dip here, so this might be something you guys are interested in. Not necessarily yet. I think this trend will continue a little bit, but look out for maybe investing in some legends that you haven't if you want to continue to be competitive in the weekend league or just make a serious amount of coins, because legend volatility in the past has shown right here, you can see right here, a huge amount of profit. So just an example of this is Stojkovic going down there, and then we got this. This is what I was going to talk about real quick. I'm just going to glance over it a little bit, but you see here, there's this price dip around March 4th, which is, I believe, the Saturday after these players get released. So that was for Guye. We're going to go to Verratti. He has a similar one here, but this is not necessarily that much of a difference, but he still has a little dip there. It's his lowest price. That's his min. And then we have Rulli. Rulli has a really big one right here, and so I might look into investing in some players that have these little dips on March 4th. I know, but I wanted to show you too that it's not necessarily true for all players, so that's what's a little bit rough. You have to kind of predict which player you see here. So Gnabry and Kita, they don't have it, which is rough, and so does Kane. He doesn't necessarily have it at all. They're was a dip here and it does go back up a little, but then it drops again. So you want to be careful with which players that I'm going to try to test this out on this experiment. It definitely needs more research, but it was something that I think was interesting that I should bring to you guys. I'm going to try to keep this video a little bit shorter than usual. The last one was around 15 minutes. I'm going to try to keep this around like 12, but hopefully if I'm not talking too fast, let me know in the comment section below. Also, let me know if I glanced over anything or missed anything that you guys think is important. I love the community engagement, so comment section is always free. So the first one to watch that I think is a solid choice is Leon Bailey. If this dude gets if this guy gets an inform, it's going to be up in like the 80 region, and it's going to have ridiculous pace and ridiculous shooting and passing upgrades, which would be huge considering that, one, he's got a unique nation like Jamaica, but also he's in the Bundesliga, so that there will be a lot of demand. And around 20K, this is a really solid investment if you have some coins laying around. Next is Gagliardini. I probably butchered that name, but I wanted to show you guys some players whose prices have lowered recently, but at the same time have really good shouts to get informs, because if this guy gets an inform, it's going to be in the 80s, and it's going to be a sick card. He's already got a really good rounded card, and if he gets an inform, it's only going to look better. Lastly, we're going to Jesse Rodriguez. There was a huge, people thought he was totally going to get inform, but this is a player that is on form. His prices dropped drastically, which means that it's actually going to be dipping below what he usually goes for because of panic selling. So this is a good time to get in on Jesse because he has been playing extremely well, and I definitely think he will get an inform coming up in the future. We're back on the Webapp here, and so what I'm just going to leave you guys with is a couple of last general market advice, market tips. I'll show you guys actually some of my investments while I do that. But the first thing is that this is a seller's market. I wanted to remind you guys that this is a seller's market because of the fact that, which leads to my next point, that there are squad builder challenges imminent. St. Patrick's Day, the FUT birthday's coming up, and then Player of the Month. All those squad builder challenges are on the horizon. They're going to require, hopefully, Team of the Week players, because then investments will be able to get cashed out, and a lot of players, what that means though too is just a lot of players will be listed on the market, which will drive players' prices down, and the week after that, there will be a lull, and that's the best time to replenish all of your players that you've used for squad builder challenges or investments you've sold on and whatnot, just because people aren't going to be necessarily thinking about picking up cards again because they'll be a little bit exhausted. It's almost like a little bit of a fatigue, but that is the best time to strike. I plan on picking up a couple more of both these guys, but the last thing I wanted to mention is that the legends seem to be slightly downturning. So like I said before, that could be a good market, but make sure you guys are looking out to be picking up your 84, around 84 informs, 83, 85. Their player prices are still a little bit low, and of course in the future you'll be making profit on them. Let me guys know what you guys think about this a little bit shorter market watch. If there's anything else you want me to explore, areas of the market that you want me to explore in the future, please leave those in the comment section below, or hit me up on Twitter or Facebook. I do try to check those regularly. Those links are also on my channel's homepage, but make sure you guys like and subscribe. It helps me know what I'm doing right, and if you guys like what I'm doing. But I'll let you guys go now for today. Enjoy your day, and most importantly, stay wise.